This is the 3D VIEW-MASTER Classic Tales, the Brothers Grimm Fairy Tales. VIEW-MASTER Reel 1. The Elves and the Shoemaker. Picture 1. There was once a shoemaker who had become poor, through no fault of his own. At last he and his wife had only a crust of bread left, and the shoemaker had just enough leather for one pair of shoes. That evening he cut out the shoes, intending to sew them together the next morning. Picture 2. In the morning he found the leather had been made up into a pair of finished shoes. He and his wife were amazed. The shoes were as neatly sewn as if made by a master craftsman. A costumer came in and was so pleased that he paid a high price for the shoes. Picture 3. Now the shoemaker had enough money to buy leather for 2 pairs of shoes. With fresh spirit he cut them out. The next morning he found 2 finished pairs, as neatly made as before. These fine shoes sold readily, and he was able to buy leather for 4 pairs of shoes. He cut this out in the evening, and early next morning he found 4 pairs finished. Picture 4. And so it went on. Whatever he cut at night was made into shoes. Purchasers flocked into his shop to buy the wonderful shoes. The shoemaker became rich. One evening the shoemaker said to his wife, "Let's sit up tonight to see who it is that makes shoes for us." She agreed. They hid in a little room behind a curtain, and in the dim light began their watch. Picture 5. At midnight 2 little elves came in and climbed up on the shoemaker's table. They took up the leather that had been cut and began to stitch and pierce and hammer so cleverly and quickly that the shoemaker's eyes could hardly follow them. They did not pause until the shoes were finished. Then they ran away. Picture 6. The following morning the shoemaker's wife said, "Those little men have made us rich. We should thank them some way. They were running about with no clothes on. They must be very cold. I'll make little shirts, coats and pants for them. And I'll make them each a pair of shoes," said the good shoemaker. Picture 7. At midnight the elves rushed in ready to work. But instead of cut leather they discovered new garments laid out for them. In surprise and delight they slipped the clothes on and began to dance and sing. "What spruce and dandy boys are we, no longer cobblers will we be." They hopped and danced about and at last skipped out the door. And from that time on the elves never came back, but the shoemaker prospered as long as he lived. VIEW-MASTER Reel 2. The Bremen Town Musicians. Picture 1. There was once a donkey named Long Ears, who had grown old and weak. Learning that his master planned to sell him to a tannery for his hide, he ran away. On a road to Bremen, the donkey saw a dog lying on the grass panting. He said, "Barker, why are you out of breath?" "I'm too old to keep up with the pack, and my master is going to kill me." "Come along to Bremen with me," invited Long Ears. "I am going there to become a town musician." The dog agreed and they walked on together. Soon they saw a cat sitting in the road, looking very sad. "What is the matter, Whiskers?" asked the donkey. "Now that I'm old and can no longer catch mice," replied the cat, "my mistress is going to drown me." "Come with us to Bremen," said the donkey, "and become a town musician." The cat joined them, and they passed a farmyard. On the gate sat a sad rooster. "What troubles you, red feathers?" asked the donkey. "Faithfully every morning I've awakened the whole farm with my crowing," said the rooster. "But now I'm to go into the stew kettle. Come with us to Bremen and be a town musician," said Long Ears. Picture 2. That evening the four of them saw the light of a house ahead. They hurried up to it, and the donkey looked into the window. "I see robbers inside, feasting with their stolen gold," he said. Picture 3. They all crowded to the window and saw 3 robbers at a table, eating, drinking, and singing. "That would just suit us," said the rooster. They all agreed and began making plans to get the robbers out of the house. Picture 4. The dog climbed upon the donkey. The cat leaped up on the dog's back, and the rooster flew up to perch on the cat. At a given signal, they began to sing, "Hee ha, woof, woof, meow, cock-a-doodle-doo." Hearing this terrifying mixture of noise, the robbers thought it was goblins and ran from the house. Picture 5. The 4 companions entered and feasted royally. Afterward, each found a place to sleep in front of the fire. When the robbers saw the lights go out, one of them crept back to the house to try to recover their gold. Picture 6. As he stole inside, Whiskers woke up and leaped on the robber, scratching and spitting. Barker bit his leg. Long Ears gave him a powerful kick, and Red Feathers growled, "Cock-a-doodle-doo!" It was awful. The robber panted as he ran back to his fellows. "A great witch hissed me and scratched me. A man with a knife stabbed me in the leg. A monster outside clubbed me. And the church called, 'Bring that rogue back!'" Picture 7. From that time on, the robbers never dared to come back. The 4 animals found themselves so well off they never had to go to Bremen to become town musicians. They made all the music they wanted alone in the middle of the woods, and all who heard it stayed far away. VIEW-MASTER Reel 3. Rumpelstiltskin. Picture 1. A poor miller took his daughter to the king and foolishly boasted that she could spin straw into gold. "Good," said the king, "this pleases me, but first I must test her." Picture 2. The king led the frightened girl to a room full of straw. He pointed to a spinning wheel and said, "Spin. If all that straw is not turned into gold by tomorrow morning at sunrise, you will die." Picture 3. Left alone, the girl began to weep, for she could not spin straw into gold. Suddenly, a strange little man appeared. "What will you give me if I spin all the straw into gold?" he asked. "The ring from my finger," she said. Picture 4. He sat down and began to spin so fast that the wheel blurred. By morning every straw had been spun into shining gold thread. Then the little man disappeared. The king was amazed, but still greedy. He led her into a larger room full of straw. "This too must be spun into gold," he said. "If you fail, you die. If you succeed, you shall be my queen." As soon as the king left, the little man appeared. "What will you give me if I spin this straw into gold?" "I have nothing left to give," she said. "Then you must promise me your first child after you become queen." Weeping bitterly, she promised. The little man set to work spinning gold. Picture 5. When the king found the room full of gold, he married the miller's daughter. After a year had passed, a son was born to her. The little man appeared. "Give me the child you promised," he said. She wept and pleaded until the little man made a new bargain with her. "If you can guess my name within 3 days," he said, "you may keep the child." Picture 6. The first day she mentioned dozens of names, but all were wrong. So it went the next day. "No, no, no," he sang, laughing and dancing in glee. On the third day, a messenger she had sent out to collect names reported. "I passed a hut in the woods where a little man danced in front of a fire singing, 'Tomorrow I brew, today I bake, and then the child away I'll take. For little dreams the royal dame that Rumpelstiltskin is my name.'" Picture 7. On the last day, the girl said, "Is your name Rose Strips, Sheep Shanks, Spindle Shanks? No? She paused. "Could your name be Rumpelstiltskin?" "Some demon told you that," the little man cried. He stamped so hard his foot went through the floor. Then he seized his other foot, and all of him went through the floor, and he was never seen again, and all went well from then on.